Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Adobe Live. We have an amazing guest and a great internet friend of mine. We have Elize Todd. How you doing, Elize?
I'm doing super well. Thanks for asking. How are you, Brandon?
I am beyond excellent. We've been chilling on the call for 15 minutes, getting our juices flowing and ready. But guys, welcome to this amazing Adobe Live. We have two very energetic individuals. I'm not going to take all the thunder today. I'm just going to get rid of our house cleaning items, and then we're going to give it to Elize for today. By the way, in the chat, we have Chris, Laura, Julian, Raphael, Coraline, Voodoo Val. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the chat. Also, if you guys are over on YouTube, we love you guys on YouTube, but if you want to join the chat, please come hop on over to Behance. Voodoo Val should be on over there, giving you guys links to come hop over here. But before you leave, don't forget to hit the like button. All right, so today's schedule, in addition to Miss Elize, we have, let us see, we've got, obviously, we're almost towards the end of the day here, guys. We are 12 p.m. PT doing web design with Elize Todd. I'm not going to take any more thunder away from her. I'm going to let her explain what we have for today. But after us, we have Sir Howard Pinsky getting into the Daily Creative Challenge. All right, that's enough from Brandon Gross. Elize, what are we doing today? And a little bit of an intro of who you are to our audience today.
Hello. Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Elize. I am an Adobe XD instructor. I teach enterprise clients how to use Adobe XD, but I also do a bunch of events for the general public as well. So I host, about 10, 12 events per month. So if you're interested, go to my site, elizeux.com, to sign up for my events. I'm also a UX designer. I'm working with LA Family Housing right now, building websites and apps for them. And then I also am an instructor for General Assembly, and I create content on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all the things. My whole goal is making UX education a good time. And Brandon, that's why I'm so excited to be doing this with you, because I know you like to have a good time with design. And I was like, oh, this is going to be, yes.
This is going to be an exciting day. Awesome. Guys, all of Elize's information is down below. Don't leave just yet, but just FYI. All right, Elize, what are we rocking with today?
Yes. So today, what I'm working on is I actually just launched my new website branding and everything, like maybe 2-3 weeks ago. And I have still been hosting my portfolio on Behance. And I want to actually start creating my own portfolio on my own website. So that's what I'm working on today, designing my online portfolio in XD, and talk about my process for that and what I'm looking at as I'm designing it. That's really what we're going to do today.
Cool beans. Let's get into it. Let's go.
Yes. Yeah. So what you're looking at right now is my live site. I've created it in Webflow. So first I designed everything in Adobe XD, and then I just transferred over everything into Webflow. So here's like my home page. I have an events page, and then I have my projects page. Oops. I have my, come on, little website. All right, there's still some glitches because I just did a little re-upload this morning, a republish. So here's my projects page, and it's really basic. I didn't do that much to it. I have this little header here, some of my past clients, and then I have 3 case studies here with a call to action to view more case studies on my Behance portfolio. I've been hosting my portfolio on Behance for years now, like maybe at least 3-4 years or something like that. And I haven't really had to do much with it because I don't actually look for new work with my portfolio. So that's why I haven't really spent much time. But now I realize, okay, I need to actually make it look more succinct with my own website. Right now, when you click this call to action, you go into my Behance and it opens up a new tab, and then you can see my full case study from here. So I'm bringing everything to my current website. And one of the first things why I decided to do this is because I have this site Inspectlet, this app that I'm using. Have you heard of Inspectlet or Hotjar, or has anyone heard of this before?
This is a good question. If you guys know, definitely let us know, because I don't. It definitely sounds like some great condiments on a hot dog.
Yes, it is. So I've never heard that and I love it. So what this is it will record your sessions, all the sessions that people, when they're landing on your website, you can see what they were doing on your site, what they're clicking on, how much time they spent on the site. You can see what country they're at, etc., the screen size. This is really interesting for basically a quick way of doing user research and user testing. So one of the things that I do is I put this now onto my site. It's just a little code snippet onto my website. And from here, it's free for 35 sessions per day. So you can see right here at the top, I still have the free version. It says that it's not recording any more sessions because I've already reached my daily amount I'm allowed for the day. So it's free for everyone to try. I highly recommend it because what this does is it allows you to see what people are doing so you can start thinking, okay, these are some ways I can improve upon my site, and you can start making some assumptions based on what you're seeing. And then from there, you can even do further testing to figure out why people are doing what they're doing. So what I did here is, like, if you see on this left-hand side, it says like /events. Most people are going into my events page. But what I'm also seeing is a lot of people start to go into my projects page. So project. And what I realized, so if we click on, let's watch one, this will be fun. You can see they're on Chrome. They went onto my site. They went and it looks like they clicked this little red button, or little red dot shows they clicked onto this event.
How expensive is this? Is this free?
So this version I'm using is free with 35 sessions a day that you can observe and watch.
Oh, okay.
So right now it's like going ×2. I can set it right here. It's like doing double the speed, and it fast forwards when people aren't like doing anything. But you just saw that they went from my like home to my events to my projects. And now what we're seeing here is they were actually clicking on all these logos. You see this little red dot? They were clicking on all of them. And actually those aren't clickable. So that's something I need to look into. I go, oh, okay. I don't want people to be clicking around my site and being like, oh, this doesn't work, right? That doesn't feel very professional. So that's something I observed with quite a few of the recordings, is people are clicking that. So that is something I wrote down is, okay, I need to do something about this, right?
Yeah.
All right, so let's continue playing on. They spent about an hour and 20 minutes now on my site at this point. And now let's see what they do. See, it's skipping forward. Now they're scrolling down. And what I wanted to see are people going to my first case study, my last case study, etc. What's going on? How are they interacting with it? They're kind of hovering around everywhere. And that was, oh, now they went to another page. Okay, so there's a lot going on there, right? And we can observe and watch and make assumptions based on what we're seeing. So I assumed they wanted to see case studies based on the logos that they were seeing. Something else I noticed is that a lot of people are going on to my projects page, and then from there, they're clicking into an actual case study, and then they just leave and they go onto my Behance and they're just gone. Look, well, here's my Behance. They're gone. I never see them potentially back on my page. So this is where I was like, okay, I need to keep people on my site, right? Because we want to think about keeping people on your website, engaging with your content, and thinking about what is the next step I want people to take on my site after looking at my case study, right? Is it looking at more case studies that I have? And then from there, is it some sort of call to action to still continue connecting with me in some way? So these are the things I'm thinking about in my head. And we want to think about the strategy with our portfolios, not just here's my work, but what is the start and end that we want our users, that journey we want our users to have on our sites.
Yes.
So yeah, that was a lot there.
Yeah, and actually, before we move on, because I know that was absolutely amazing. A lot of people are asking, what is the difference? And I'm glad this is totally new for me too. I think a lot of you guys in the chat, Voodoo Val just dropped the link there. This seems to be a lot more insightful, maybe in some regard, because it has a visual component, whereas Google Analytics might not have, hey, this is where people have clicked. So what are just some of your thoughts on Google Analytics is a good base, but what is the addition of this Inspectlet? Do you do
Yes.
both, one or the other?
Yes,
there's some
it's a
questions on that.
combination. You want to have still Google Analytics. I still have my Google Analytics, right?
Yep.
But what you do with Inspectlet, it's giving you just a little bit more insight into the why, right? So data analytics is the what is happening potentially on these screens from a higher level, potentially. And then Inspectlet, you can kind of get a little bit deeper, or Hotjar as well. You can get a little deeper into what people are doing in a more micro level, but also the why behind what they're doing. You can start to make assumptions at this point. And then the third layer on top of that is to actually test it out with real users, 5 to 7 users. You created some assumptions of what people are doing, why you think people are doing something. Then you go in front of a user, or you do it virtually, have them test it out, and you get to get those assumptions either validated or disvalidated, and figure out why people are doing what they're doing. And I actually did do a round. I had a designer who's working with me, do I think 7 user tests on my prototype. And that's how we made some improvements on it as well. So it's kind of that's 3-layered approach. And if you can only do analytics and Inspectlet, great for now, like that's totally fine. It's upping your game for user testing. But you always kind of want to, figure out all these kind of different multi-pronged approaches to understanding how to improve your products.
Most definitely. Thanks for the breakdown. Love that.
Yes. All right, guys. So I've now made a couple assumptions up. I have one was the logos, right? And then the other was people don't know what to do after my assumption is people don't know what to do or how to still connect with me on my case study after they've spent some time with it, right? They don't know what next step to take with me. So those are some of the things that I want to tackle for this site. But what I also want to understand at this point is, what are other people doing? This is when I do a competitive analysis. Do you guys know what that is? And Brandon, have you done any competitive analysis, and what's your take on it?
Competitive analysis. Well, I'm very looking forward to how you do it, because I'm just like, I'm very like chalant about it. I'm like, I like to see what are just the face value things that people are doing tactical wise over here. And I'm like, what is like obviously not working and what is. So there's, that's the base form of it, but I bet you're about to drop some real gems on all of us. So I'm not here to take this is the Elizé show today. Okay, guys?
Yeah. It's always interesting to see how different designers do it. And I do it differently for each project. So let's go to my XD. My actual website is very, it's honestly one of the hardest things for me to work on. And I do have a designer that's been working with me on this. Her name is Chrissy, because it's hard to work on your own things. It's hard to like evaluate yourself. Yeah. And it took me years to start to work on my new branding. And it's taken me 6 months, this whole process. So if you guys feel the same way, I feel you. So one of the things I do what I decided with this site is I'm going to do everything really lean. My competitive analysis is going to be really lean. I'm just going to spend time looking at what other designers are doing, other agencies are doing, maybe other social media designers, what they're doing, and pick and choose things that I like, that I think are working, and things that I think maybe that I don't want to have on my site. So one of the things that I started to do is, and this is, everyone's probably doing this, is looking at Behance and looking at Dribble and seeing things that I like, right? And starting to save stuff so that I can be like, okay, this is something I like and what I want. And one thing I really liked from this site, Dappy.
You have like the cool, like everything you've mentioned so far has like the coolest names, but go ahead.
Dappy, Inspectlet, Dappy. These are also techie, right? Yeah. I really liked the look of this case study. I liked the cleanness. I liked the little friendly little shapes and stuff in it, which I felt like was similar to my vibe. And then I really like how they're using this like large fonts and just a couple sentences, nothing too heavy. It kind of matches the style for my my case study as well.
Yeah.
And then they have these nice visuals here, which are really simple. If we look at it, it's just, you know, a rectangle with some of the designs on some background. And I'm picking out, okay, I really also like that they're using this GIF right here, this kind of video that's laid out autoplay. It looks really beautiful. I'm not really using any videos on mine, even though I do I do portfolio reviews and I do events, and I always tell people these videos. I don't do a lot of the things I say. So don't look at my portfolio, guys, because I haven't spent much time on my portfolio. I've just worked with a lot of people on theirs. So
I think, however, it's a good point to even point out, because you also, there's many different ways of execution. I think you're also, we can talk about this later, but you do what you tell other, because you know, you've been in that position as like somebody who's trying to get work. You're kind of now in like a speaking landscape, and you're doing a lot more actual relationship building, whereas like what necessarily is needed on your site is a lot less than those who are trying to break into the field. So you have a lot more leverage. So I think that's also some things that we will definitely get into, and I know you've talked about that as well.
Yes. Yeah, that's a really great point, Brandon. And that's why, you put your efforts where you're going to put your efforts where you need to, that'll take you where you need to go, right? So my efforts right now are with events and speaking engagements, and it's less on design. But so this is just really clean, this whole screen, and I really like the style of it, and also just the amount of content to imagery to actual copy that's on this case study. And that's one of the biggest points I try to make to junior designers, is you don't need to make a long story with a bunch of words crammed in. Making it lean but really pointed, and a good storytelling is what's really important. So that's what I'm looking at there. And then I'm going to take a look at my little zoom is in my way right here. Okay, move this down a little bit. There we go. So the other thing here is Ran Siegel. You know him, Brandon?
Yeah,
Ran Siegel. A lot of YouTube. Ryan Siegel. Sorry. I guess I'm missing. I added an A. Ryan Siegel.
It's okay. We go back and forth.
No, Ryan Siegel.
that yes, exactly. I get confused in the same way.
Something that I noticed about his is he also has logos on his. Let's click onto it. And those are clickable, right? But they don't actually go to any case study. They're just going to the actual website of the company. And I was like, do I want that? Do I want people to go onto the website if I don't actually work on the website? But something about this layout made me feel like it potentially doesn't have to be a clickable logo. What do you guys think? Or Brandon, like the way he's laid it out kind of on this darker background with some text, does it seem like something that is very clickable to you outside of the hover effects? Or what are your thoughts?
My thoughts, and very quickly, while I give my thoughts, for those of you guys who have thoughts, and I love the conversations that you guys are having in the chat. You guys are asking questions and literally answering each other's questions. So good job. Also, just another reminder, if you guys have questions, Elizé is here literally for 2 days and a little bit after as well. She lives on the internet. So, but we're here with you now. Ask away. Okay, so my thoughts, I actually absolutely love that you brought this website up, because I use this example quite a lot myself. In regards to the featured in, I like that it's clickable only because it goes directly to the articles he's featured in. That way it gives more context. However, if, for example, I think it would be nice if you have some sort of like ability to link to the actual work that you've done. I think that's a great value add. But if it's just like you're in the case that there would just be linking to Forbes.com, it really wouldn't make any sense. But I kind of, I like the layout of this site. It's super simple. He, just like you were saying earlier, where people's kind of how they're executing. Like, for example, I don't think you're probably gonna explain this anyway. I steal too much thunder. All right. Anyway, like the layout. Too much thunder, Brandon.
Well, something I noticed too, the issue that I realized too is on my site, when you hover over it, it actually looks like It is clickable. So then I was thinking, these are my assumptions, right? What I think is happening is people are hovering over it, so they think it's a clickable element. And then my assumption is, my thought is, if it doesn't have that, will people still think it's clickable? And then my other thought was, should I just grayscale all of them? Will that make it seem like they're not clickable? Because I can't show work for some of these projects, I'm under NDA for them, I can't have it actually go to that work. So, but I also want to make sure I'm showing my logos, right? Companies I've worked at. So I would love to have everyone's thoughts too. Do you think that it's fine like this, as long as it doesn't, as long as we don't have this like little mouse hand, I don't know what you call it, little mouse hand that comes up when you hover over it? Do you think grayscale is a good option? Or does anyone have any other ideas of what I should do to make the logo seem less clickable, but still stand out and give me that authority?
Let's see, reading through
Brandon,
some of these.
What are people saying about it?
Let's see. Laura says, if a user doesn't want to click, he or she can skip. But if a user wants to see the website of one of the companies and the logos are not clickable, then he or she would have to open up a new tab in Google. So, I mean, this is what Laura is saying. And I think there's a lot of it's a complex question. Like we would have to go into, what's it called? Let me just read some of these other things. All right. Raphael says, usually grayscale would work not to make them seem as if they're not clickable. I agree with that.
I also like what Voodoo Val is saying too. I think it should not link to another site, but to the work you did for them, or a description blog post about the kind of work you did and when they can expect to see. I like that, because maybe I don't have to actually show the work, but I could have a little something about it.
Yeah.
Good thinking. Yeah, maybe it even anchors me down to certain sections in the case study page too. So that's a thought as well. I'm just gonna write that note down.
Everybody, we are collectively adding on to Elize's next level website. So
yeah, you guys are all helping me create this. This is why I did this, so that I could have group help. I told you it's hard to work on it on your own. I want hundreds of people to help me. All right, so here, what I really liked about Ryan Segal, I keep trying to say Segal, is that he has a whole dedicated section to each case study. It takes full width of the screen, which I really like. And he has these backgrounds, as well as the actual design in some, the phone or whatever device it is. And he's got quite a few here. And I thought it looked just really nice and clean. So that was one I liked. There's also this, I've been looking at agencies as well. So you don't have to only look at designers, you can look at agencies and their kind of case studies, because agencies do things really lean. Their case studies are pretty lean. So we want to find that nice balance of having something not too long, not too short. And so it's good to see both sides of that too. And also just how agencies show their work. They're very professional. We want to kind of make our work look very professional. And so this is Philosophy, an agency, a UX, UI, software, everything agency in LA, in Venice. And I really like this little diagonal slant with a couple of screens. And it's actually influenced some of my previous designs before. So I liked this one as well. Yeah, you guys too, let me know what you guys are liking it or disliking. You guys are helping me create my site, so I want to know. And then here we have, I showed you the Dappy one already. Bloop, bloop, bloop.
And while you're pulling up this other one, I think this is a great question, because I know personally this is something you talk a lot about. It's something that I refer to as party in the front, business in the back. I think one of the things
what does that mean?
It's especially when people are trying to hire UI or UX, sort of even whatever, portfolios. There's a certain type of individual that is trying to just see, what is the outcome? What did you make? And then, so that's party in the front. We don't buy shoes, bags, whatever. We buy those things with our eyes. And then after, we're like, all right, so how does this company actually run? Is it sustainable? Do they actually have a comparable wage for their employees? So that's what I mean. Having good showcases. So what is your thoughts on having those long case studies that we've seen in the UX world versus just let's get to the meat? What is your thoughts on that?
So I've done tons of research on portfolios, case studies, what's effective, and also interviewed a lot of people in different companies, Netflix and Facebook and smaller companies, all about the hiring process for UX designers. Because I was really curious last year. And what I found is that people don't necessarily want to read a novel. They don't have time for that. And people want to be interested. So you want to keep people interested with engaging copy. It's more about the power of the words than the number of the words. And so that's what I recommend. There's even a practice of like try to write your portfolio in 500 words or less. Try to write it in 150 words and less, and see what that looks like. And what I recommend though is typically after you have your portfolio out and about, your case study, and people can get a little excited about your work and what you've done, and then from there you're going to typically have some sort of presentation to the company once they bring you in. And at that point, and this is when I just recently did one for Facebook, I interviewed there, and I did a 30-minute presentation on my work, which is deep diving into things, why I did this, my first iteration, the second iteration, all of that. And you can go deeper once you're in the door, and that is expected. But your first thing is the teaser. Get people excited first and interested and engaged. And that's really where you want to be at.
Exactly.
Yeah. So this is Dappy again. And what I just really liked was the layout of this, the imagery here. And so what I'm focusing on at this point is just that home screen for my projects that I was showing you earlier. Where'd it go? Just this project screen is what I'm going to be focusing on. So it's this screen here. And if you go to my Behance, it's this screen here, right? So I have my 6 main projects that I have on here. And if people are wondering, 3 projects is typically what you want to show. You don't need to show that much more than that, but this is 3 is a good number. So here I have my projects, and this is the new, I'm recreating this page today, and tomorrow I'll be focusing more on the full case study page itself as well. I'm making that template, and I wanting to make this page really effective. So that's what I was looking at. Is I was like, oh, I like this. Maybe I can have more fun with my little images on that My Works page, because my branding is a bit more fun, funky, colorful. So that was something I was thinking about. Would love to get your guys's thought process. Do you guys like this kind of more abstract, and you don't really get to see all that much, but you're like, oh, I'm intrigued, I'm interested, and it's a little more funky and fun, knowing my branding, guys. So not just what you guys would want, but knowing my branding here, right? This kind of fun style, versus something more like Ran Segal, with this kind of background with an actual phone device image, right? Not just like a white rectangle or a version of a phone or what have you. What do you guys think about it? Or do you have a preference? For me, okay. Brandon, what do you think?
I think there's two. It depends on the type of person. Like, I know you're fun, and what you have, it makes me want to dance. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
And yeah, so it pops. But guys, in the chat, I'm trying to like formulate. If you dig what Elize has in terms of branding, put 1. If you guys are like, maybe more so towards Ran Segal's more, I don't even know what to call it, but his style, put 2. Let us know.
Yeah.
But I honestly, yeah. I think either way is.
We could also play around. We can try out a couple designs and see it. We'll get into it right now. And then here is like a third one I really liked. I liked that there was like color block in the background, and I was thinking, oh, I could have some sort of shape behind mine because I'm using a lot of shapes, or I can have an image potentially too with this opacity, and then the phone on top, or the device on top. And this was another layout that I was really liking. All right, I'm seeing a lot of 1s. People are liking number 1.
They like the fun.
They like the fun.
See, look at all these 1s coming. Look at that. Look at all that. That's a math class right there, Elizé. I might say no more 1s. That's a lot of it's a lot of adding.
Okay,
chat has
great.
Spoken.
All right, so we've got, some strategies now, and now I'm at a place where I'm going to feel a little bit more comfortable to design now. And again, this isn't a typical project for me where I'm like a lot of strategy. It's my own website. It's a portfolio. It doesn't have to be, so elaborate, but typically if I'm working on someone else's a client project, I'm spending a lot more time on a competitive analysis, on a strategy for my screens. Right. So when you're working on your own stuff, just get something out, and do what you can. So I'm going to create a new artboard here, and let's make it longer. And I'm going to do a basic wire for it right now. Just some elements I kind of do a combination sometimes of like a wire with a high fidelity until I get it to a place where I like. Sometimes people just do wireframe and whatnot, but so I'll just pull in my navigation. Oops, that's not my navigation.
It was like, please make me the navigation.
I want to be here.
He was like, you only use me for the case study sections.
I know you want to replace me today. So now I want to create the background. Something I've been playing around with is some things I have a humongous picture of me for my about me, which makes sense, right? But then on some of my other pages, it's just like playful background. I guess I was thinking I might just use something similar to that. We'll put that on and we'll see what you guys think, or if you have any other ideas for me. But again, I'm trying to keep it somewhat simple. All right. So obviously, instead of events and workshops, I'm going to change it to, I need to move my microphones in the way of my hands. My projects. Also, I've been playing around with should I call it my projects, work, my work? Any thoughts there too? I'm welcome to.
Thoughts in the chat, guys.
And here I'll put in some a description a little bit later. I'm going to leave it as is. Again, I'm just trying to do something really quick to see what I like. And at this point I was thinking maybe I should throw in my logos here instead, in the actual heading in there. And maybe that would make it seem less clickable somehow. I don't know. We'll get your thoughts in a second.
I actually was thinking that when
were you?
Yeah, I was like, I wonder if she's gonna move them up into that space, because that way it's just here's the presentation of my projects. Here's some of the work that you'll about to see below, and then when it separates the things that are not interactive and interactive. But that was just my thoughts. However, I think this is a good question from Raphael, just trying to transition here. Trying to make sure we get these in. Raphael's asking question, Miss Elize. When creating a case study, do you make notes in advance on the process you went through for the project, or you just do everything while creating the case study?
Okay, yeah, good question. I definitely do not do it while I'm designing. So if I'm going to go back to my portfolio, I already have my case study. And what I'm going to do tomorrow is spend some time thinking potentially with you guys is how I might just revamp little aspects of it, start to visualize it, maybe some of it a little bit more, because I could do a lot more in XD than I can potentially with design in Behance, with my copy. So I've already spent a long time figuring out what exactly I want to have in this page. My process is I like to just go through my whole journey of what this project was and write it in a Word doc, kind of the big points that were really poignant in my memory and that really impacted the final design. So I like to put it down in a doc, and sometimes I'll actually even speak it out loud, all the things that I was doing. I like to talk. So I'm more of a talker than a writer. So it's a little bit of a combination. And then from there, I actually do my writing in a Word doc. And then from there, that ordered out loud should be the way that, makes the most sense chronologically and how it makes sense for the person reading it. So that's something I suggest. And if you don't like doing it, that's okay too. You can have someone else read it and give you feedback. You can also record yourself talking it out loud and play it back and be like, oh wait, that was so weird that I said that. That doesn't make sense. Or that was so boring, that part. Why did I include that? Those kinds of things you can flesh it on your own. Then you feel confident with that with the Word doc or what have you, and then you put it into the design. That's kind of the last piece there.
Got it.
Okadoka. So Henry is also asking, how will you make your portfolio? I'm going to put this into Webflow, but also you can use Behance. And actually, I just, I was seeing recently that there's a new Adobe portfolio. Have you guys heard of it or seen it?
No, please do show us.
Try Adobe Portfolio, build a website in minutes. I just saw this recently and I was like, ooh, you can build it free in Adobe Portfolio. And they have all these templates and you can get started this way. So you can actually take it beyond your Behance portfolio. So I highly recommend trying this out.
Yeah, that's actually, it's really easy way if you already have things on Behance to at a click of a button, literally just have a website and all your projects in there. I actually forgot. I was like, wait, they updated Adobe Portfolio? I thought there was like a new thing coming out.
Yeah, I haven't tried this before, but I think it's so cool because I tell all of my students and anyone I work with to use Behance to get started because you don't want to get too bogged down by something. By your website. What the content matters more than the actual design. There's this guy, Simon Pan here. He has one of the most popular case studies there is for Uber, right? And he has a beautiful case study. It is a little bit longer. What he's really great at is writing, and that's obvious. But if you go to his projects page, look at this. Not beautiful, not great. It doesn't really matter. You don't have to make it look, so beautiful. There's all types of portfolios. So starting with a template is great. And you can do a lot of what he does here in the Adobe portfolio, just placing images and copy.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so let's go back. We were talking about something here, putting my logos.
Yes,
I'm just gonna, okay, so one of my clients was Adobe. So I am going to look for an Adobe logo. Let's see if I can, I just look up Adobe logo white. Hopefully we can find a PNG here. Just something, again, just like a placeholder for now. I'm like, Adobe, can you just send me one, please? I don't have to do this Google search stuff here.
The brand guides.
Yeah, it's just a placeholder. I'm throwing it in. It's huge. Reducing it. Oh, this is going to look terrible in black. Maybe I should change. Again, I'm not attached to anything right now. I can play around with colors. I'm already using a dark blue. Maybe I bring in this color here instead. What do you think?
I kind of like the dark.
You like the dark? Okay.
What do you guys think of the chat? Light or dark? Let's experiment, guys.
Purple.
Purple.
Here are my other colors here. I'm using green and pink. I think pink is gonna look crazy. Yeah, crazy.
Actually, I think they could all really work.
It could all work. Okay.
I'm biased because I like everything dark. I've been slapped too many times by the white screen while waking up. So I'm just like, oh, what time is it? And then Siri yells at me, it's 10 a.m. and the brightness is at like 120%. So a dark mode, please.
You're a dark mode guy. I'm a light mode girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're all different. Yeah. So
that brightness just wakes me up in the morning. There's some people are different.
People are different. I'm a morning person. I've been getting up at 6 a.m. now and having a walk on the beach, and it's just, I'm loving it. We just moved a week ago and I'm like, oh, I get to live my morning dreams, my morning fantasies, just wake up and get a coffee and go on the beach. It's been awesome. Has anyone voted for colors on the top?
So here are let's see, because there are no numbers, the words have happened. And now I have to read all this stuff. And you guys know how I do. All right, the dyslexia takes over and I got to read all of it. All right, so we got Team Dark Mode is like 4 people in deep. We have Ratuja coming in with purple looks great. Danielle is saying purple or dark. Lewis says, how about a white background? So that's one for Team Light background. Let's see.
Okay.
All right, so far it's Team Dark. Someone came in with a very specific hex code.
What's the hex code?
F5, F5, F5. I'm assuming that's like
that's pretty light.
Off-white. Yeah, it's an off-white.
Yeah.
But we got the majority dark, purple in second place, and Team Light in third.
Okay. Well, I'm going to leave it as purple then for now because I'm using dark over here. So I'm going to use purple over here for now. And you know what? Tomorrow we might change our minds. Who knows? So the other thing that before I start placing my case studies down, I just wanted to think about the strategy that I want to have for this page and sort of like that customer journey. So step 1, they come to my projects page. Step 2, they probably select a project to look at. Step 3, I would imagine people want to look at more projects. So that's going to be something I'm going to think about on that projects page. But I want to get people to actually sign up for my events. And what are your guys' thoughts out there? And Brandon, what are your thoughts on how to continuously engage with people? Something that I have here is a call to action. So it was purple, so now you can see it. But a call to action to connect with me and get notified of my events. But what I've noticed from Inspectlet, guys, is people aren't clicking on it. Not many people are actually going to this call to action. And I was thinking maybe it's because it's just in the header and people aren't like really seeing it. Why can't I click you? Words. There we go. So people aren't actually clicking onto this. So what are your thoughts on the strategy there? Should I have just a call to action like in the bottom of my case studies page to connect? Or what are your thoughts?
My thoughts, I have a couple, but I also I have some questions, and I hope you guys have some questions as well. Actually, I'm really curious about the guys. I forgot the name of our favorite hot dog condiments. What is it? Implemented? No. What is the term, Elize?
Oh,
that you're using for analytics?
Oh, Inspectlet?
Inspectlet. Yeah, I was like in something. What has
the first action is for people to go from my homepage and not really scroll down. They usually just go straight from my homepage to my events page or my projects page. But usually, if they go to my events page, they'll scroll around and then potentially in the navigation, it doesn't show it here, but in the navigation, they go into my projects page. And then from my projects page, they exit out to Behance, and that's the end.
Interesting. Well, I guess we have two, now that I have this information, I guess the mindset of someone who's coming to look maybe to hire somebody for some deliverables, they're going, hey, straight away to projects, and then going into and out basically to your Behance. The other side, if the goal here is to get people to click that call to action, which was to get
notified of events.
Get notified of events. Maybe since it might not, and these are just my thoughts. You're totally able to snack them down. But guys, audience, Elizé, she's like, my hand is ready. But I'm thinking the people ready for projects, they're looking for somebody to hire for that particular thing. People who are looking for events, they're probably looking to see, hey, Elizé has these 12 events this month. Okay, these topics might be of use to me. All right, well, what is the next step? How do I actually book some time or register for these particular events? So I'm curious, and because I don't necessarily know this, I'm assuming from events I've seen in the past, people, or even the events I've been to, I click on that event and then I register via Eventbrite or something. So I'm curious to know how the thought process that you have. Those are just my thoughts. But I'm curious, and I know the audience is curious to hear kind of how you think about that and how we're gonna get into that and solve that today. We're problem solvers today, guys. We are going to be warriors with Elizé and champion this new route in terms of how we're going to do this portfolio.
Yeah, I mean, as you can tell, I'm a lot more about strategy than I am UI. I would not say I'm a great UI designer. I would say I'm better at thinking about strategy and thinking about all the different things, how they connect together. And so when I think about the actual case study and how people are moving through it, I think that what I didn't explain is we did user testing with actual people who were interested in connecting with me and going to my events. And something they wanted to see was my projects, to see, okay, if I'm going to learn from her, how good is her work?
Qualify.
What kind of quality of designs does she have? You don't want to look at someone's sign like, oh my gosh, she designed that. I don't got to learn from her, right? So,
Right.
So that was kind of, I think, that's what my assumption is the real pool for people to go from my events page to my projects page is go, oh, okay, what is she doing? But what I want them to do is go back to my events or go back to the, and to follow through on that call to action. And so that's kind of where there's that new problem that I need to solve, which is,
Right.
You don't want something so in your face. Like, I do just want to enjoy your projects and your case studies. I don't want to have call to actions everywhere. And that's just overwhelming. But how do you entice people at this stage? Oh yeah, I think she has some brands she's worked with that I think are good. I like her case studies and I want to continue to connect.
All right, guys, technical difficulties, but guess what? Listen, we have so much stuff to teach here today. Elizé, is basically about to reveal some secrets that the internet tried to shut down. So anyways, we're back here again. We're gonna rewind about like 5.5 minutes. We're still here. If you guys missed anything, please let us know how we can reacclimate where we are. But Elizé, let's hop back into this. So what are we doing? I think the last that we dropped the circle in, we pulled in some mock-ups.
Yeah, we broke the internet, and that was the first.
We did.
But I hope you guys are still with us. You're like, oh my gosh, where'd you go? We're here, no worries. So what I'm doing right now is I'm in play mode. I'm playing around with different styles. I'm going to try out different versions of how to lay out my portfolio works page or projects page, where I'm just laying them all out. We were talking about different strategies, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later as well. But right now what I'm doing is playing around with different versions. And that's something that I usually spend time with, like, what looks good? And usually my first stuff looks crappy. I'm already telling like, oh, I don't really like this first version. It's kind of ugly. And that's my process is being like, not so nice. Okay, this is fine. Oh, I like this. What do other people think? And so I would love to get your guys' feedback too. I got some inspiration from a couple of these other designs that I was looking at that I'm going to play around with. So what I was doing right now is I was also just looking at, I'm going to look at Tesla's Envoy, the company I was working for. They did a lot of stuff with Teslas. They had all types of electric vehicle sharing. So I was thinking, okay, instead of a home, maybe I try, dragging in a picture of a Tesla instead, and trying something out like that, and maybe putting a mask on it.
Did you just pull that from the internet into the spot?
Yes, I pulled it from the internet and just dragged it right in.
What? I will never download an image again.
No, you should never.
That was awesome.
Why do that?
No more right clicking.
I can show it too in just a second, because I might try a square version in a bit. So here's what I'm playing with now. Fine, looks okay. So yeah, here we have a couple versions, and people can give me their feedback. And right now I'm just basically creating the template of what I'm not going to keep all of these. I'm just playing around with many versions now to see what I like. And it's always good to have just a little blurb on what your project's about, 1 or 2 sentences. So that's something I highly recommend. So let's do it again. I'm going to make a rectangle here. Maybe I go all the way to the edge with it this time. Get rid of that border. And then here I have an image, and I'm just dragging and dropping it in for now.
Wow.
And there it is. And then I'm just copy and pasting that same rectangle. So it's 2 versions of it. And then this one, I am going to use my purple. I'm just turning down the opacity now. And so there it is.
You just blew it, including mine, everybody's mind. Everybody basically just dropped their glasses, gave each other the grandmother look, and was like, how you do that? or maybe that's just my grandmother. I'll speak for myself, but that was awesome. I didn't know you could do that.
Oh yeah, it's one of my favorite features of XD. It's just the auto masking. Makes life so much easier. Right. Okay, so now I have a few versions here, and I think I'm done playing with my take on this. And we'll get some votes, but I'm going to play around with something like this guy over here. I'm going to try my take on that. And it's okay to honestly just kind of copy someone else's designs. It doesn't, no one will look at this and be like, you copied from Cajon Mobile UI Kit's top of their page. No, it doesn't matter. No one cares. Okay. No one's looking at that. It's okay to take your own version of it. No one's going to be like, you're just copying that other UI kit. Don't worry. So yeah, sometimes what I do is actually almost like a direct copy, like my own direct version. And over time, it'll somewhat morph into more of an individualized and more personalized look and feel. So for those of you who like to steal, okay, it's okay. I'll be real. Oh my gosh, I'm rhyming. Okay, so let's move on to, oh man, Mondays,
Rapping
right?
Mondays with Elizé on Adobe Live. Come, we have the mics.
Oh, okay. So something else I'm going to do is you'll notice that a lot of case studies uses just a white rectangle with rounded corners and stuff like that. This is pretty common. Instead of actually putting it into something that looks like a device. Have you been seeing that, Brandon?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So it's kind of a really easy way to make your designs look pretty decent without having to do so much and putting them into fancy devices for mockups. You can just do something like that. And it's like, oh, look, that's a web page. Or you can place it into something like that. And oh yeah, look, that's an iPhone. But it's just a rectangle, right? Yeah. And it depends on what you're placing in there. So, something that looks lighter and brighter looks nicer in something like that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go and open up my Envoy design file. This is my master file for this project. As you can see, there's a lot of artboards in here. And so it's it's going to be interesting. Like I'm going to look for which ones I think are just going to feel nicer. And I'm looking at some of the lighter and brighter things here. So one thing I'm looking at is maybe like this screen for bringing in a driver's license. This was part of the onboarding here that I did, but it has such a bright red call to action. It's kind of bothering me. And honestly, what I'm going to do is I was using 2 calls to action on this page. I might just change it to blue later. So you could fib your designs. It's your design. No one's going to know, to make it look better for my case study. So, okay, got one image. What else? By the way, Brandon, how are people doing with the internet breakdown? Or was it a freak out?
The majority is back. They're ready to print shirts with "It's okay to steal" dash from Elizé, Todd, quoting you, and also quoting, that per your last quote that they're ready to print. It's reminding them of the book. What is it? Steal Like an Artist? Yes.
Yeah. I mean, they always say don't steal. You need to not consider it stealing. You want to steal from multiple people, right? That's what it is. But I also say it's okay to steal from one sometimes and make it a little more your own. Just one aspect of your screen. It doesn't have to be you're not going to take one whole website and copy it exactly, but like you take the header from one and then you take like one little section from a different person, and that's okay. That's what I say.
What I think is, go ahead, never mind. Because what I was going to say, no. Because I think it's such an important, and I'm glad you touched on it, because everything that we do, whether we're learning to write, whether we're learning to walk, we look at something and I don't know if babies think this, but like, standing on 2 legs looks like a good idea. So they try to mimic that just to learn. And same thing goes with design. Even when we're doing our ABCs, we learn through tracing that. And sometimes in my mind, but I think it's just that, like copy to learn how to, in two parts, to learn how to do the things you don't know how to do. But also when you're trying to do things like you're showcasing here, don't be afraid, at least from a framework standpoint, like take from things that you actually think are cool.
Yeah,
and then over time,
definitely.
morph it.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a way to learn. And I appreciate what you said. So yes, what I'm also doing right now, just if people are like, what have you been doing with that plugin? I'm taking these artboards of things that I've designed and I'm using this plugin called Custom Export. And because in XD, you can only do 1x, 2x exports, there's a plugin here and you could do 3x and 4x. And so it just is a higher quality for an image. And so that's what I did first before dragging it into this little rectangle here. And is something that I recommend, because nothing is worse than when someone's looking at your portfolio, at your case study, and it looks pixelated. So that's something I recommend. And even when you're exporting this now with the rectangle behind it, I might do it again. Another custom export when I put it into Webflow. So here's my little rectangle phone. And I'm gonna just make this a group. And maybe what I'm gonna do is like skew it as well. Is this gonna look crazy? Oh my gosh, you guys are gonna, what am I looking at?
We designed together, guys. We
designed together. If it looks bad, you did it with me, okay? We're all to blame. Yeah, I want to try out some new stuff here live and show you how much potentially I'm not great at.
Wait, hold up. You can't just smooth past that like everybody knows how to do what you just did. Let's roll back. You did like some Matrix stuff.
What do you mean?
Winked at the computer and the images swapped. How'd you do that?
Okay. So, any image you take, so this is an image in here.
Yeah.
I can copy, let's say I want to replace it with something.
Oh, you put it in the mask?
No, there's no mask.
Oh.
I just dragged something in. It just went into the whole artboard, but I'm just trying to paste it in here. Okay, so here is an image. And if I want to replace this one inside the phone or the rectangle with this one, I can just simply copy this image. And then I'm going to go into this layer and I'm just going to Option Command V for Max, and it's just going to replace it. So that makes life a little faster.
Yeah, that's super smart. Okay, guys, shortcuts, please be the masters of them. This is why Elizé
You're the master of your own shortcut.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, like, okay, shall I place, I'm wondering where I'm going to put the text, because in this version here, it doesn't have any text in there. So I need to put envoy, and I'm wondering, okay, should I actually just make it smaller instead of taking up this whole space? And let me just, actually, that's what I'll try here for a second. I'm going to group these together, and I'm just going to make it smaller. And I'm like, should I do something like just tighter and smaller like this? But obviously I'm gonna hide this later in a second. But what do you think about that versus taking up the full width and then finding ways to put the words inside? What are people's thoughts there?
Yeah, guys, what are your thoughts? Do you feel like put 1 for full screen, 2 for let's make it smaller? I think it would be just because of the sizing of the phone, and if we're just gonna have 3 in there, I think I'm kind of with you on possibly making it that sort of smaller off to the side, and maybe some text next to it. Maybe not full width, but we'll see what the chat says. Because I do think we could even do, if you move some of those things like you're even doing now, like that full width could definitely work. But guys, also forgive me, I forgot which one I said. 2 is the small one, right? I think 2 is the small. Guys, math is not my thing.
Wait, what am I saying?
Yes. We are here as designers, and if I say numbers, it's just like placeholders. But I believe 1 is the large one and 2 is the smaller one. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Jessica Ashmore, for keeping me in line.
So what's the verdict?
The verdict looks like we are going to go small town.
We're going small town.
Yes.
Okay. So here we go. Here I'll keep. So do we like, because the other thing I was thinking is if we did go big, if we wanted to go big, another thing we might be able to do is just instead have the heading at the top. Let me pull this guy and make it bigger. And I'll shrink this down. It's like so large now, but so we're gonna have so many versions, and people are gonna be like, wait, there's gonna be too many options for them to choose from here. But this is my process. We'll narrow down to our favorite, like 2 or 3, Brandon, and then we'll ask everyone their
That sounds like a plan. We
for
want optionality.
Yes. It's like too many options is like overwhelming, and I feel you. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm just going back and just making this artboard a little bit longer because it can't handle all of my versions here. Although, also, by the way, guys, if you want to steal what I'm doing, feel free to. Okay, that's what I gotta say. If you want to design it like this, exactly in that way, feel free to. Let's make this a bit smaller. And I'm going to replace some of these images later, but just so we get a feel, here are the options now. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, Brandon. What are our favorites?
Let's get in. Let's dive.
Let's get in. We've been playing around with this. All these versions, people are seeing my process and how I create all these different versions. All right, so we have this one, which I don't really like. It's just too overwhelming. It's like a random pink. Do you agree?
No, it was my favorite. It was a bubble and it's cute and it's like it's just 1, 2. It's really,
It's your favorite.
the first two are my favorite just because it's like boom, boom.
Oh, okay. Okay. And then we have, so this is your other favorite, this one with a shape and like a little image in the background. Okay. And you prefer that over the rectangle. You liked the circle.
Well, let's scroll down to it really quick. Let me. Oh, the rectangle. Sorry, I was like, yeah, no. The circles I definitely like.
Oh, you like the circles better. Okay. Because I was also thinking, because I use different shapes, I might have different shapes for each one too later on. So that's something I'll play around with. And then we have this one here with just some, like, we could also try different colors too.
Yeah, I think we have a split agreement in the chat. Some people are saying they love the circles. Some other people are saying that they love the additional overview of the app that we can actually see. I like that dark. That looks nice.
You like everything dark. Okay, that's something I know about you.
Like, just put Brandon in a dark room. Put Brandon in a dark room. He's happy, which is not even a lie. I that's my existence out, you know. But let's see. I think it's just it's a nice contrast where it's just like, look at the work.
I see. Yes. We also have my old version, and people, maybe you would like the previous one. And this is where I stuck more towards the UI of the original design. Let's show it here. I'm using it in this way here. I'm using the actual background from the, oh my gosh, wouldn't that be funny? We're like, actually, I just like what you had before.
All right, let's ask the guys in the, because it seems like the, wow, Voodoo's making fun of me. You like dark everything. She's like, the only thing of color you have is your tie. Leave. True.
That, oh yeah, that is true.
Okay, so it seems the audience, everybody likes the circles, but now that we have like we can now go back and look at Elize's, where we came from. What do you guys believe is the right direction? From the circles that have already seemed like to be a favorite of you guys, or would you like to go back to where Elize started? Or Elize, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's like, because I'll break it down now to like.
Let's break it down.
Let's break it down. Let's get into this layer first though, so I can do what I was trying to do. Okay, I'm leaving it. Because it's just weird. This is like just a white area, but just imagine. There we go. So we have version circle pink is, that's number 1. That could be your vote. Circle purple, that's number 2. That's your vote. Square Tesla, it's number 3. That's your vote. With the background next to it like this, that's number 4. And then we have number 5, something like this. And I can fuss around with it, make it prettier, but like something more widescreen too. And what I'll do is I'm going to do another like little showing of it like this. Hold on, so that we can get the real feel. Oh, okay. Pink, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. And number 5. Looks too big. The phones look too big.
Guys, also please put numbers. You all know that this. Yes, put the numbers. Y'all
1, 2, 3, 4 to 5.
Yes. All right, make the math easy. Mike, I don't know if fiat means 5, but let me, you know what? I shouldn't even just say these things alive. Let me just keep the thoughts in my head. Okay, there we go. All right, so it looks like we have 1, 2, 3 5s, 6 5s.
Oh, wow.
Or those are, hold on. 1, 2, 3.
5 is the favorite, huh?
4. 4 2s and 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 5s. So it looks between 2 and 5.
Oh, wow. I was surprised that people like the last one best, or one of the best. I know I'm
Sarah,
crazy
okay.
and I'm making number 6. What?
Nothing.
Okay. Yeah. And now I have number 6. Okay. So this is my process, guys. You're seeing is this something you do too, Brandon? You just have like 100 versions of something?
Oh
You should
yeah,
see
I'm
some
a
of my
hot
files.
mess. Yeah, like there is no perfectivity there's productivity, but there's no perfection in my workflow. It's literally and the people in the audience know, like me designing live is me falling on my face until I'm like, oh, that kind of looks okay.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, that looks fine. I'll live with it.
Yeah. People are digging 6. I think 6 is coming along very nicely.
Oh, sucker.
Yeah,
Okay.
there we go. We have some converters to 6.
So 2 and 5 and 6 are like some of the popular ones, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, so
All right.
everybody's converting to 6 now.
Oh, what?
Yeah, so it looks like 2 and 6. 6 has definitely surpassed the 5.
Wow, okay. Here we go. I'm gonna try something, but it's probably not gonna look good. You know, you ever do that too? You're just like, this is probably gonna be bad, but it might be okay.
That's just when I open up XD and when I am prepared to design, that is the mindset. I think that's the mindset everybody honestly should take, because that is not even the mindset, being okay with that is how things are gonna go.
Yes, I agree.
You just gotta try things.
Just try it out. It might look bad, but it might be awesome. And guess what? You got a delete button and you got an undo.
Exactly.
That's what matters. I'm trying to find a way, like, can I bring still my branding and shapes into it? And what could that look like? And what's challenging, my biggest challenge right now is the fact that my branding and the branding of the site I'm working on is not the same.
True.
So I'm like, I'm already feeling like, ooh, that yellow looks crazy. It does look crazy. Because I was looking back at this guy here, and I was like, oh, can I bring in something? Like, I liked this little shape behind. But I have a feeling it's just not gonna work out.
But that's why we tried. That's where we put it in, and we're like, oh no, that dish is no good. You know, when you put a little bit more mustard than need be in the dish, and then you're like, that wasn't the right move. But it's okay. You know, you only put a little bit, and then you just don't mess up the entire dish.
Exactly. But I also kind of like that you like said hustard, and it reminds me of like hustler mustard or something.
I thought nobody was gonna catch that, and I was like, I just don't know.
I like it. Mustard.
Mustard.
That's your special ingredient.
I would hope not. Nobody would eat at my house.
Your hot dog reference. Really?
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, you want some mustard on that? I guarantee you everybody would turn away and be like, what is he cooking? But aside from that, yeah, guys, what are your thoughts about the circle?
I'm trying to figure out what to do with this. Yeah, what do you guys think? Give me, oh, you know something else I do? I've been using like dark versions. I don't have the exact color, but yeah, but it's like, is it even doing anything, or is it just distracting?
I kind of liked it solo. What do you guys think in the chat? Little bit of circle or no circle?
Man, sometimes it's really hard to get to a specific layer when you have so many groups like I do with this, like groups on groups with masks. You can just hold command. Oops. And I need to hold command to get to a specific layer faster. So that's something you can try.
All right. I like that.
Let's play. I always like to put it in play mode to be like, what does it look like more like on a real screen? Stop doing this. I'm doing the wrong artboard. Here we go. ooh, I don't know about this top anymore. You know, when you design something, you're like, that's fine. You're like, ah, I hate it.
And the bottom half
There it
definitely
is.
looks together. Yeah.
What you guys think? What do you think about it? Circle or no circle?
Let's see. Some people were like, really did like the yellow circle. Yeah, some people said really didn't mind the yellow. Fergie said the yellow was nice contrast and more your brand than the dark color, as it's similar to the UI. Yeah, most people are like, definitely keep the circle. So that's definitely, we're in there.
Oh, okay. People are okay with the yellow though. That's interesting. Let's see. I don't know, because now my eyes are like so looking at the yellow now, and it's like kind of like, so something I've been doing also on my social posts, which I like, is and I don't have it in my website, so then that's why I don't have it here to show you, but something I've been doing, I think, is it here? Yeah, it's so using like a yellow with an orange, and then using a dark purple with the purple, and then using like the pink, like these color combinations. So that's kind of what I was playing around with right now, is what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that this is like, I'm going to still keep this guy around because that's like, I still am attached to him. And
I think they work really well together. And some of the audience said it does look really well together with the contrast of like boom and boom. It looks good.
Oh, you like both of them?
Yeah, some people, I, you know, and I agree, where it's just like, it's a nice contrast where it's just like, hey, Envoy. And this is this part of the, and actually it might be, these are just thoughts. Maybe this is when you actually get into the case study of
in the
Envoy.
case study. Yeah, I was also but what do you think then of like my actual projects page? Do you think some of it should be designed a little bit differently like this too? Like this would be for Envoy, and another thing, let's create another one of these, could be for a different, or do you think it should consistently be like this same style over and over?
What do you guys think?
What
Should
do you guys think?
Should we do a flip-flop where we have, you know, something that just very nicely cuts in between, you know, that this is project 1, this is project 2? How do you guys think that we should, or Elizé should have this? Put one in the chat if you think it should be consistent.
I like how you said we.
well, look, like we're doing this together. Everybody in the chat,
I like also this.
Yes,
we. Yes. We're designing together. W. If this fails, we're together.
Exactly. Yeah, so put one in the chat if you think it should be a consistent layout for all the different projects, or you think it should be a sort of contrasting where it's project 1 looks like this, project 2 looks a little bit different, and it's a back and forth. Sarah's saying, I like the variety of different styles to the separate projects. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, so 2's coming in hot. Fergie says 2. Sarah says 2, which is, I remember, I almost forgot, but I didn't say it out loud, which I just did. Okay. 2 is basically keeping everything, we're keeping things contrasted. I think it brings a nice life to it, you know?
Oh, okay. Cool. That's something I hadn't thought. Thank you guys for helping me with my site. See, I appreciate this. So now I'm wondering, okay, what's going to look better? Will archive look better than this new project? Pulling it in. It's a responsive site, so I wanted to display both desktop and a mobile together, but it might be like a little crowded feeling as well. And the circle is like just not there anymore. How about that? I got a big old circle. What happened to my purple?
It didn't like Hustard. It ran away.
Yeah, I guess so.
See what happens?
And then I don't like the Tesla. That's not going to work with this new one here with archive. So I'm going to look up, I think I have my archive so you guys can see all of my artboards and all the designs I do here. You'd be like, oh, wow. I did two things for this brand, Archive. I did their front face website, and I also did their book building site. So I'm just now looking for a picture that I can use nicely in the background of this. Something like this would be nice, maybe. For this like kid, and this is for creating books. Parents create books with their kids' art.
Wow.
So that's that project. So I'm going to now grab that layer that was underneath, and I'm just going to again Shift Command V to place that image in. But it's not doing anything for me because you can't really see what's happening. So let me move that one. I'm going to double click to get back into that mask and see if I can like drag it more into a place that visually makes sense. I might have to turn this one into a rectangle shape versus a circle. Which, you know, we might bring that rectangle back. Right, because that doesn't really work. Guess who's coming back? Oh my gosh, isn't it funny? We're actually gonna just be using them all. All the versions are coming in. Okay. Let's see, I'm gonna bring in this image again, copying it, placing it into this shape, Option Command V, placing this back. And putting that opacity here.
There we go.
Oh, what happened?
Watch us actually end up going back to just using the square, because now that I'm looking at it, and especially as you're pulling in these different mock-ups, I'm like, I didn't know we were going to go that route. And this square that I necessarily wasn't too fond of in the beginning, because I was like, I wonder how that's going to look if we have all these squares. But it actually might end up being the one that actually works really well, because with the circle and that mock-up, that website mock-up that you have, you know, it's not enough space to showcase the, you know, the photo behind it, the child that's in that space. But with that square, you can kind of have a little bit more context than you could with that circle. So
yeah, and I might have to get rid of my my mobile screen here. It's like, or maybe I'm gonna have to do just mobile.
Just the mobile, yeah.
But then it's like, that's too small. Oh, maybe what I could do is maybe I should bring it back, and maybe I just move mobile like this and move this here. Oh no. If you guys ever have trouble with your groups, I do too. And I'm an Adobe XD instructor. Sometimes I forget, and sometimes like I didn't do my groups so properly, and it just happens. Okay. Maybe is it just way too small and just is weird?
Yeah, weird. I think so. The child is cool and all, but the design work is even better.
No, it's not.
the child from Unsplash, you know, he's got some swag and all. But
well, this is actually their work. This is their photography, so at least there's that. Okay, let's do this. We'll do, but it's a responsive site, so sometimes I feel like, should I just leave mobile? I guess it's fine. And then what I'll do here is I'll have a little blurb about what Envoy is, but and then right underneath I'll just put responsive, and I'll make this better later, but like what this was, responsive website product redesign. And then have you guys seen this feature yet here? If you group a group of elements over here on the right-hand side, I can turn on stacks. What that means is if I take this element here and I can just drag it over, and it's just going to kind of do a little switcheroo. So now I can place it, and it maintained the same amount of padding there. So this is something I highly recommend if you are like not sure the order of things that how you want it to be. This is a great feature.
Stacks, ladies and gentlemen.
Stacks. And you know, I'm not going to be too crazy about like the spacing and having it to be exact, because I'm going to be also doing all of this in Webflow myself. So I'll be messing with the spacing when I get into it.
Are we actually getting in Webflow tomorrow, or are we staying in?
No.
Okay.
That'll be that would be like a 10-hour session.
I was like, oh, we're definitely doing some interesting things in the next 2 days. I was like, I'm excited myself on that one.
But you know, I am creating a video series on how I create from here to Webflow. So
that's what's up.
Yeah, if you guys want to see that, you can. All right, so now we have this version and something that we might want to work out here. Okay, so I'm going to move this Envoy project away. Oh. So something that I have on here is a background layer, which I forgot I did. Just move this away. So you see how it's like still stuck together? It's because they're still grouped. So I just want to Shift Command G ungroup them so it's not still attached over here. And then this is just by itself, this background, which I still want there. And I'm going to lock it, right click, lock to lock that layer. I don't want it moving about. And then from there, I'm going to take this new section and place it up here. Where'd it go? Okay. Here we go. And it's there. And then I have this section now. And maybe what I'll do is, because I use different colors in my work, this is, or in my website, this is a purple, and like this is purple, so maybe it's like too much purple. Let's try out some others. Oh my gosh, that looks crazy. That looks crazy. Yellow works, I think. We have green. No, that child looks crazy green. That's okay. It looks a little mustard yellowy, but what do you think? You like it?
I like that, honestly.
Okay. There we go. So we now have, what is this thing? Oh, get rid of that. All right, so we have, oh, where did my archive writing go? I'll just relabel this. Archive. So here we have now archive and Envoy. Woo! All right, see all that work it takes just to make this? Whoa.
But it's experimentation. What works, what doesn't work. You got to get, everybody collective input on it. Yeah, put on the show at the same time. So I feel like we're in a good spot.
So I'm just going to do 3. This is going to be my final one. Maybe what I'll do is use the circle, and I'll just like kind of do this opposite effect here. You kind of want things like if this is left, then this is right, and then this is left. And it kind of it makes it not feel as monotonous and templatized sometimes if you do it that way. Oops, what was I doing? I meant to keep it like that. Okay. Bring this over. And maybe I'll play with a different shape in a little bit, something else that I'm using over here. And actually, I don't even remember what my third project is. Let's look at it. Oh, Adobe. Yeah, okay. So this one here, I'm gonna just I'm gonna take So this is kind of a little bit more of a darker style on some of the screens, and they have, it's funny because a lot of my sites use some sort of blue or dark blue is what I'm noticing here. Yeah, what are your thoughts? Should I use this case study as my third one? Or I also have, this other one, local IQ. Let's look at some of the, so that's also, it's also dark blue. It's all kind of the same sort of style. Maybe I have a preference. Here are some other ones. I think it's too busy though. That's why I didn't put it on it. Here's the ranch. It definitely has its own very unique style and its branding. So I didn't really want to use that one. And I have Papyrus, and this one was much leaner project. I was only working on some aspects like the Papyrus store and the blog and the resources pages. Yeah. But I mean, it's pretty and it looks nice and it's a recognized name. Although you know that all their locations are closed now, which is so sad. I love Papyrus cards.
Sadness.
Sad. Coronavirus sadness.
I love the Adobe demo assets.
Okay, well, that's what I had before, and I'll keep it that way. This one, what were we gonna plan on doing on it with it? Okay. I could, or do you think I should have all of them on here?
We definitely could have all of them on here, but I'm trying to think. We have about, let's see, 40 plus, we have about like 15-ish minutes. So I'm like, and plus we have tomorrow. So I'm trying to think. It's really up to you. And also the audience, what you guys want to see.
Yeah, what do you guys think? Like, I could have just 3 case studies on my site like I have now. That's the bare minimum. And I don't like to overwhelm people. But, you know, Rand Segal had a bunch on his, you know, and maybe people like to see all of them like that and not have to go to my Behance at all. We could just all make it go. I'll have it all on one side.
Everybody says everything. So I guess we have our answer. Everything. Voodoo says
everything
all.
Here.
Fergie says everything.
Okay. So actually something I think I want to use is this, a little bit more of this style for my Adobe demo assets one.
Yes.
So yeah, this was a cool project with Adobe where I created different design files that were make-believe that just shows the capabilities of XD. And this is the first time I started using Adobe XD, was creating it for Adobe. I was like a sketch user before this. And I was like, okay, let's create this. And I fell in love with XD, showing all the capabilities of XD. And then I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And I haven't gone back to Sketch since. So that was the power of this project from Adobe.
Definitely.
And I wanted to use this style more only because I think it'll be more impactful, because I didn't do any mobile for this one. So here, actually, you can see the design file here. So this was, I actually did multiple demo files for them. And I'm like, oh, should I show all of them or just the one? But right now I'll probably just focus on the one, again, for time. And honestly, I don't love writing case studies, and I already wrote one for one, but maybe what I'll do later is maybe we could have a little fun. Yeah, I'll show a couple of my other demo assets, and maybe there is a way to display a few of them here, and it could be kind of interesting.
We're going to play with it. We're going to see what we got.
We're going to play with it. So what I'm again doing is I'm going to grab a couple artboards that I think are going to be the most visually interesting for my case study. I always want to pick the ones that look best. And honestly, if you have to redesign a couple of your screens a little bit to make it look more impactful for your main like show-stopping section, do it. I've done it. Like, make it look a little more prettier or interesting. But of course, when you show your prototype or all your fleshed out designs, you'll probably want to show what you originally created. But I've also recommended to people that they can talk about what they actually created, what was actually live, and then what they would have wanted to do. And you can have multiple versions. Sometimes what you wanted to do and the best design isn't what was actually created, and you were limited.
Right.
So that's another way you can kind of make your designs look better. You want to put your best foot forward and show some good designs. You know, they always say don't say sexy designs, and I still say it. I'm like,
Wait, who says
design.
not to say that?
Yeah, they're like, that was like kind of like a joke between, you know, mostly within agencies, like that clients are like, oh, we want a sexy design, and you're like, what's that mean? Don't say that. And
Oh, okay.
I say it. I still say it.
That makes sense.
All right, so now what I'm doing is I am going to grab, we're making a new rectangle now for, this is a website, just a white rectangle. And then I'm going to go in and I'm just going to get rid of the gray corners.
And while you're putting that
sides
together, I do want to just queue up because we're in our last 15 minutes.
No.
Guys, if you have any questions technically, or even from I'm saying theoretical, but if you just have any questions about portfolios, how to put it together, if you've come in here a little bit late, you know, if you have questions about portfolios, we have, you know, rewatch what we have today, and also tomorrow we're continuing, but just start thinking about some of the questions you might have towards the end of our segment today, and just pop them away.
Please, yeah. Ask any questions about portfolios, case study making. I'm happy to answer. Or about XD.
The shortcut queen. I was like, everybody was like, how did the image get there?
Oh yeah. Okay, I'll show it again in a second when I do another one.
For sure.
So here I'm just trying to make the shape for my page here, my web page. And when I feel like pretty good about it, so that looks fine. And I'm just going to center this over here. And now this is a new group. I'm going to right click and group it. And then I'm going to make another copy of this, and I want to place in a different image. So if you remember earlier, I had used custom export to make 3x of the screen size. Then I'm going to take my PNG and just drag it in. Oh, what happened? What happened? Okay, so I just needed to double click to get into. Oh, okay. Let's do it again. No, wrong. Now that I'm trying to show it to you, it's not looking as good. So here. Okay. So now I'm just going to make this the shape.
I wonder if it was the mask. That mask looks really far down. I think that's probably why it stretched it in that odd way.
Yeah.
But it done. Yeah.
It's because this one I made, the mask is wider than the actual image underneath it. Yeah. I shrunk the image down. So I'm just going to have to futz around with this one. But as I'm looking at it now too, I'm like realizing this might not be the best screen to show as well, because it might just be too bright and colorful for the background I'm trying to make. So my background, if you recall, here is going to be like a strong color, and then like this is going to maybe look a little crazy, a color on top of a color. So I want to find something maybe with a little bit more white space in the color, just the color white. I'm going to grab this one in. Okay.
By the way, while you're doing that, Julia says hello. Shayella, she says, hi, Elizé. So you have some fans, most definite fans in the chat.
Hi,
what's going on, Julia?
Good to connect. Good to have you here. Hope you guys are learning a little something. If you guys are working on anything for your own portfolios based on this, I would love, love, love to see what you guys are doing. If you guys are making some assets for yours, and if this was helpful for you in any way. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to replace these guys with this. And I like this, like, still I like the little more of a slant type of thing. And let's look at that other example that I liked. Oh, this little phone still here. Goodbye. Here was that example that I liked. So they have like something like that. Then they got like this guy over here. And then they have like another one and it's flipped around all the way. Let's see how it goes.
There we go. It's all about testing, trying with things, seeing if it looks okay.
Yeah, let's do that. So, and then I'm gonna, before I mask it, I wanna like just change the colors and styling. I don't wanna use the purple, so I can use, like I have this, oh my gosh, pink is gonna be crazy. Let's try out the different combinations though. So we have this version of my color combinations. That does not work well. We have this version as well. I use like a green with a darker green version of it. I have to pull the color from my other thing later, but that's the green. And then we're using the purple already. So then we have yellow with the orange.
That actually looks nice and energetic, especially with the orange in the actual pieces.
Okay.
What do you guys think in the chat? Orange or not?
Orange or not orange? That is the question. And then actually maybe what I'll do before I throw this on is I'm going to use a different shape. I'm going to use this rectangle-y one instead.
And we do have a couple of good questions coming in. So what I think we're going to do, Elize, is we are going to, with these next 3-ish minutes, try to wrap this up and spend the last 5 minutes answering the few questions that pop in, as well as closing out this segment and tell the people what they're in for tomorrow.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, guys, you guys have some good questions coming on in, so keep dropping them. We're going to try to spend at least 5+ ish minutes. We're going to try to mess with this last piece or this last element here, and then we're going to continue tomorrow with Elize. Same time, same place. And if you haven't already, please make sure, whether you're on YouTube, Behance. Well, if you're on YouTube, like the video, then come here to answer your questions. But don't forget to hit the like button on either place. If you've enjoyed what we've been doing here today, and it seems that you have. Chris says this has been entertaining and very useful.
Oh, good. I'm glad. All that matters is that we're entertaining.
We'll learn along the way.
Yeah, if there's questions right now too, I'm happy to answer it as I'm designing.
All right, sure. Then I will bust them out. Okay.
Bust them out.
Let's see. First off, Sarah did want to say she didn't realize that, basically she says, I didn't realize how much I needed that. Permission to change my design for my portfolio. I feel that a weight has been lifted from my shoulders from watching this. So that's awesome.
Oh, that's so awesome to hear. Thank you so much, Sarah.
Yeah. Next one, Kaio is asking, what's going on, Kaio? We have what should I use from Behance posts? I know this is a very particular question, but it is a good one. For you posting to Behance, is there like a width that you use? Because I know some people have trouble with resolution.
Yeah, so you want to design, what I've done is I've done I put it on a 1920 artboard like this. And then again, I just use that plugin custom export here to make it a 3x or a 4x, and then you place it inside. So the larger it is, the better it is going to look when you place it into Behance. So that's what I highly recommend, is this plugin. And if you haven't used plugins before in XD, in this top right-hand corner where it says XD file edit object, there's plugins, and you can browse plugins and search for it here. So custom export, right? And then from there, you can download, install the plugin, and you will find it where I've been using it in this bottom left corner. The very bottom left corner is your plugins. And that's where you can actually utilize the plugin.
Very nice. All right. On top of that, Sarah's asking, how built out should my projects be? Sorry, somebody chatted and all the messages went up and I lost my line. When do I guess her question, now that I'm trying to read this and trying to get it into a form of a question, how should one build out their portfolio case study? What needs to go in it? This is something that we've talked a little bit in the beginning, but can we somehow summarize in just a couple sentences what one should have in a singular case study?
So in your case study, let's open up mine really quick. So of course you have your heading. And then what I recommend is to have 2 to 3 sentences that grabs the user's attention right away, or the reader's attention right away, and gives some drama to what your project is about. And so, and what I've kind of formulated is this formula for the first three sentences. The first one is like your background. So here are the background of your project. So in 2018, with the rise of electric scooter companies like Bird and Lime, Envoy, an electric car sharing startup, added scooters and e-bikes into their offering, making them the only company to offer all three. So that's a little bit, just one sentence, a little background so people understand, what are you working on? What is this project about? So that was the first one. Then secondly, kind of talk about your task or what you were set to do. So here Envoy was looking to get their next round of funding and had to prove that their product could scale outside of just Los Angeles. I led an ambitious project to redesign the app in order to reduce customer service requests and create a frictionless process. So I'm talking about what I was tasked to do. And I of course, am very interested more in the strategy of things. So I'm talking about what my task was in relation to the overall business strategy here. So this is two or three sentences that just gets you, oh, I'm excited. What did she do to help reduce customer service requests and create a frictionless experience? And these are the problems that I was trying to solve. And us as designers, we're always trying to figure out what is the problem we're solving. Unless you're just purely UI designer, you might have a different, sort of visual problem that you're trying to solve too, right? So that's always what creates that interest and that spark and conflict. And then you always want to have some sort of like splashy, beautiful top image that reflects your projects, or the best of your project. So that could be at the very top or right underneath, like I have it here. And then from there, you want to talk about just the key aspects that led to your final design. The most important, you don't need to talk about every single thing you did. Nobody cares about every single thing. Talk about what actually impacted the final project. What was super important that you learned? What was that interesting insight from a user or from a session with users that you're able to apply to your project? And again, here you just need 1 to 2 sentences that highlight that and show that transition from where you were, that initial problem, to each significant step that you went through in order to accomplish that goal you had initially. And you want images. As you can see, I have images and copy, and I don't have I like to have a nice balance of both, right? Not so much copy on the screen. You can see the heading, a couple of sentences, and some images that support the point that I'm trying to make. Then of course, at the end, you want to show your final designs, what those look like. If you have a video of your prototype, that's great, or a clickable prototype. Or I even recommend for junior designers having a 1-minute video talking through your project, why you did what you did. And so that way people can just right away and within 1 minute understand your project, what it's all about. And because time is of the essence, you typically have 2 to 3 minutes that someone's going to spend on your site. So how impactful can you be in 2 or 3 minutes is really the point. I know that was long-winded, but I hope you got something out of it.
That was right on the money, guys. If you didn't get that, rewind this and listen to it again. Really, if you came in a little bit later or even towards the end, this will be up, and we are going to be here again with Elizé tomorrow, same time, same length. So if you have any questions that you really didn't get answered, we will be here tomorrow, same time. And Elizé is also on the internet. Her links are down below. So we are at time. Elizé, is there anything you would like to basically leave with our audience before we roll out today?
Yeah, so, we talked about some of the more visual elements for the projects page. And tomorrow we'll talk about actually fleshing out that case study a little bit more, the template for the case study, and how you can make your actual case studies visually interesting. And we'll talk a little bit about, some more of those strategies as well for some kind of going a little bit more in depth to what I just talked about right now, of how you should lay out your case study. And I'm excited to show you guys, because this is really good for me too. And I'm so appreciative of all your help to kind of get me to a place where I'm feeling much more confident about my own portfolio. So thank you so much. I appreciate all the help.
All right, awesome. Let's do the same thing tomorrow, same time, same place. Guys, like this video, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.